Saturday Imagination class. And we are so happy that you have joined us today to see our play, Adventures in Outer Space. If you're unfamiliar with this class, the way that it works is that the kids come in on the very first day and I let them know what the theme for the semester will be. So this semester it was Adventures in Outer Space, all right? And then on that very first day, they get to pick their characters. After they've picked those characters, it is their job to make sense of why those characters belong together, what the main conflict of the show is going to be, and then how they are going to resolve that, okay? On the very first day, we learned about what acting is. Who can raise their hand and share with everybody the definition of acting? Olivia, what are we doing when we're acting?
We do.
You remember? What are we doing? Gracelyn, can you help her out?
Pretend to be somebody that you are not.
Right, we pretend to be someone else. And we have tools that help us pretend to be someone else. Who can raise their hand and tell me one of those tools? Travis. Our body. What else might we need, Miss Olivia? Voice. What else might we need, Miss Cadence?
A voice.
Did you say voice too? Yeah, we need lots of voice. What else might we need, Janae?
Our brain.
Yes. What's the creative part of our brains? Where if we closed our eyes, we could see pictures. What do you call that? It's the name of our class.
Our face.
No. What is it, Riley?
Imagination.
Imagination. And then the most important tool, because public speaking is the #1 fear in the whole wide world. What is it, Maddie?
Courage.
You have to have courage or else you can't do it at all. Great. We also learned about a couple of different types of acting that we use in our play. The first is where we act without using real objects. Who can raise their hand and tell everybody, what do we call it when we use imaginary objects? Pantomime, that's right. And then we also learned about a special type of acting where we act without a script. What is that called, Olivia?
Improvisation.
That is correct, all right? So, the way that this works is that I'm going to narrate the story that the kids have come up with, and they're going to improvise within those circumstances, all right? So, like I said, the very first thing that we did on day 1 was we decided what the characters were going to be in our play. So that is the very first thing we're going to share with you today. We're going to do that doing a game called Name and Movement, but we're not going to use our real names. We're going to use our character names because that's way more fun. Oh, I forgot to mention, all of the costume pieces and all of our beautiful sets, the kids made. They made all of it, all right? So they have full creative control over everything that you're going to see on stage today. So we are so excited to share it, and we're going to start right now. So everyone stand up, stand on an X. And we're going to start right down here. Our first character is?
Alien space puppy.
Good. Next up we have?
Astronaut.
Good. Next we have?
Starfish.
Even if they didn't hear you, what animal are you?
Starfish.
Ah, evil alien starfish. Next up we have?
Space Knight.
Good. Then we have?
Evil alien princess.
Then we have?
Space chick that princess in the stress.
Oh. Then we have?
Space monster.
Good. And last but not least?
I forgot.
You forgot! You knew it last time. Fox Wolf. Space Fox Wolf.
Space wolf.
Good. Excellent. And you guys ready? Here we go. Round 2. Our story begins in an evil crater on the evil planet of Mars that sounds like this. And on that evil planet, there were 3 evil friends. There was
Space monster.
there was yes, bubbles of anger, and there was
Evil alien princess.
All right. And they spent their days eating. Fuzzbugs are delicious, and they would run around the surface of Mars, picking them up and shoving them into their mouths. And they tasted like something different to each and every one of them. To the starfish, they tasted like.
You're scrumptious! It's scrumptious!
To the alien, they tasted like.
They tasted fur.
And to the starfish, they tasted, and to the monster, they tasted.
Like sugar.
Good. And they spent their days eating them up. They loved fuzzbugs because they would turn you.
Evil.
But one fateful day, there were. Hey, boys and girls. I'm sorry, guys. I'm missing one of my helpers. Yeah, check them out. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. Cool. So, one day, there were no more.
Fuzzbugs.
Oh my gosh, our evil people started freaking out. They ran around everywhere looking for them. They asked everyone they saw. But no one had any fuzzbugs. The space monster said,
If I don't get any fuzzbugs, I'm gonna die.
the starfish said,
If I don't get any fuzzbugs, I'm a real and I hate them.
but the alien princess, she was not worried. She told her friends exactly where they could find some fuzzbugs. She said,
I used to live on the moon, and I wasn't evil, and I had a sister.
her friends gasped. She explained further. She explained something horrible had happened.
We were playing tag on the moon, and she accidentally tagged me and pushed me into a crater, and I hit my head so hard I forgot where I was, and I started eating fuzzbugs, and that turned me.
You see, fuzzbugs grow plentifully on the craters of the moon, but the kindly moon folk know that they will turn you evil in a flash, so they never ever eat them. But the poor alien princess was so disoriented that she did, and as soon as she did, she was incapable of forgiving her sister for what she had done, and she fled to Mars to lead her evil existence. So, the space monster didn't want to waste any time. She said,
Where are the fuzzbugs?
the alien princess said again,
They're on the moon.
and the starfish said,
Then let's go! I'm starving for them!
and away they flew. Meanwhile, back on the moon, which sounded like this, there was.
My ear keeps falling down.
Oh, there was a poor. What's your name? There was a poor.
Moon princess.
And she cried all day long. She was attended on by her canine companions and cleaning crew who spent their days cleaning the castle with their tails. But one day the Moon Princess had had enough. She had never forgiven herself for what had happened to her sister. She had a terrible idea. She held up her idea finger and she said,
I would eat fuzzbugs, so I'll be evil like my sister.
you see, she had a key. She pulled it out of her pocket. She had the key to the attic where all of the fuzzbugs had been hidden after the terrible accident. and she decided that she would have to get her sister to love her by being evil too. And so she cried as she left. But this had not gone unnoticed. The doggies rushed to talk about the disaster. The Moondog Mama said,
What are we gonna do?
the space dog Chicken knew just what the Moon Princess was up to. She said,
She can eat spice bugs.
that would be terrible. So the space doggy said what they should do.
We should hide out the doggy distress call.
You see, the doggy distress call is an intergalactic doggy howl that lets all doggies in the universe know that there are other doggies in distress. They hoped some brave dog would come to their rescue. And so they bent their knees, put their noses up in the air, and howled their hearts out.
Oh!
And then they said a little prayer and ran off. Meanwhile, back in a laboratory on Earth, there was an amazing machine that sounded like this.
Beep, 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 beep,
Priest? The machine had been built by our two heroes, the
Space Knights,
and his best friend, the
Space Wolf,
and they had made this machine to make anything. It could make,
Chains,
it could make,
Swords,
it could make,
Mats,
it could even make anything.
Boats.
Boats! It could totally make that. And they were so happy because they were finally almost done with the machine. But as the Space Knight was putting some final touches on that machine, the Space Wolf Fox all of a sudden heard something crazy. She called over her friend.
Come here, I hear something.
He came back, yes, and he asked, what is it? She explained.
I heard the instructs doggy signal.
She had heard the doggy distress signal. That meant there were doggies in distress somewhere in the universe. She asked her best friend, she said,
Can we go help them?
the knight said,
We have a problem. We don't have a spaceship to go there.
oh no! But just as all hope seemed lost, there came a mysterious knock at the door. And the knight went to go see what it was.
Come in, please. Yes. Have you seen this dog? Yes. She's right there.
And so, in came a mysterious astronaut. But he wasn't just any astronaut, he was...
The Argentinian astronaut.
And he said what he had been looking for. He said,
I've been looking for this dog.
and as soon as the Space Wolf Fox saw him, she rushed over and gave him a big hug. You have to do it with your eyes open or you'll never be able to do it. She rushed and gave him a big hug. And she said,
Where have you been in my life? Did you remember that war that I went to fight?
she didn't, so he explained.
Remember the time I was wearing a force field and I was going to go to that fight when our ship crashed into that planet?
She did remember. He said what she had done.
You forgot that I had a force field around me. Didn't you remember I pressed the button there?
She had thought something horrible had happened to him, so she explained what she did.
I thought you went somewhere else and looked for a different box. That's why I put them.
So that is why she had run away and decided to pursue her education. She had gone to college, where she had met the Space Knight. And they had done something very special together. What did they do in college?
We did nothing.
Oh, they did nothing, or they were college roommates. And they had stuck together and been together ever since. Well, now that the Argentinian astronaut had found the space wolf fox, he didn't know what to do. He said,
What am I going to do with my life? You don't have a why.
not a wife, a life. And so the space wolf asked if,
Can you get us your spaceship?
yes, because they needed help. The Green Knight explained why. The Green Knight explained why.
Because we heard the doggy distressing. Actually, she.
So, the Argentinian astronaut looked up what the heck that was because he didn't know. He pulled out his space computer and he typed it in to the search engine and he said,
Oh, it's a signal that comes from another universe that got in trouble.
and so he agreed to the mission. He said,
Sure.
and away they flew. Meanwhile, back on the moon, the bad guys had just landed.
Backstage.
Huh? Meanwhile, back on the moon, the bad guys had just landed. The space monster didn't want to waste any time. She said, the space monster didn't want to waste any time. She knew just what she wanted. She said,
I want the fun.
and the starfish said, and the alien princess knew just where they were kept. She said,
They're kept in the attic because my sister has the key to the attic and I know where they are from the ship.
so they went off in search of the key to steal those fuzz bugs. But just as they were about to steal it, they heard sobbing. They heard sobbing. It was the Moon Princess, and she was on her way, so they hid it. She was about to get into that attic and eat all those fuzz bugs to turn herself evil. So she took out her key, and just as she was about to put it in the lock, in rushed the bad guys, and they said, "Freeze right there!" And the Moon Princess saw someone she hadn't seen in years. She said, the Moon Princess saw someone she hadn't seen in years, and she said, "Ah." But the alien princess didn't want to do any fuzzy stuff. She got straight to the point. She said,
Give me the fun.
and so the Moon Princess handed over the key, and away went the bad guys to gobble them up. And when they had eaten their evil fill, they held up their idea fingers. Because they had an extra evil idea. The alien princess said,
We can capture the moon.
and so they went to capture the Moon Princess to hold her captive and get more fuzz bugs. And away they went. But just as they dragged her off, in ran the doggies. They were afraid that the Moon Princess might do something very dangerous, and so they had just run in. And as soon as they got there, they sniffed around. Something did not smell right. Something smelled evil. The space dog chicken said.
Something smells fishy.
The puppy said.
Something smells evil.
And the moon dog mama, she smelled something she had not smelled in years. She said,
The alien princess.
and at once she knew what she must have done. She said, what must she have done? Well, you know. What did she do? What did the alien princess do?
She captured the moon princess and the alien princess. She captured the moon princess and the moon princess is gonna.
Oh no! Just as all hope seemed explain what had happened.
The alien princess had captured the moon princess, and the moon princess is getting all the fuzzballs.
The puppy said,
Oh, and we don't know what to do, so can you help us? Do you have a spaceship that we can use?
they sure did. And the Argentinian astronaut, he said,
Wait a minute. Okay. Fuzzbugs contain a poison. If you eat them, that turns you evil.
oh, yes, that was very bad. But he also explained what they could do to help. He knew from his travels where they could go.
To the Milky Way, which is also my galaxy, but it's also sticky.
And the Green Knight explained why it was so sticky.
Because it had a lot of caramel.
Yes.
What in the world is the Milky Way?
It's a galaxy. And so the doggies jumped into the spaceship and they made up their minds that they would lead the bad guys through the Milky Way, get them stuck, and then lead them into something very special called...
I think they can find something online that could help us. Beep, 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 beep. Okay, there's one thing, but the rest is kind of cursive. Okay, this one, it's the Star Cat.
And the doggies asked,
Star what?
and he explained what that was.
Star, okay, it's a hurricane, only with stars. And they turn you good. That's an anti-poison that turns you good.
Fabulous! They loved that. So the Space Knight started the countdown. He said,
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
and away they flew! In hot pursuit of the evil villains who are flying through with their captive, the Moon Princess. And away they flew! And then, in hot pursuit, came our good guys. They flew right after them. Flew, 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 flew.
Turbo boosters.
They put on the turbo boosters and they were hot on their tail. And soon, the bad guys flew right where they wanted them, which was the Milky Way. The starfish said,
There's too much caramel. We're in the Milky Way. Ugh.
oh no! The alien princess said,
This is too much caramel. That's so thick. I can't get up my foot.
the monster said, oh, she couldn't even say anything. She was so disgusted. The alien didn't know what to do. But just then, in flew the good guys.
Turbo boost.
In they flew. And the Space Knight picked up his walkie-talkie. And he said,
Good guys, the bad guys. Bad guys, the good guys. Do you need help getting out of the Milky Way? Sure.
and that didn't sound very good to the alien princess. She
I
said,
don't trust the bad guys.
and neither did the space monster. She said,
I don't trust them either.
but the starfish explained,
If we don't get help from them, I don't think we're ever going to get out of the Milky Way.
so the alien princess agreed. She said, and then the space chicken threw out the line, and the starfish caught it. They did one more countdown,
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
and away they flew, pulling the bad guys exactly where they wanted them, into the Stargate. They spun around wildly until they fell down. And when they fell down in their spaceship, disoriented, the bad guys were so shocked when they started saying really nice things. The starfish said,